Hey guys, and welcome to a brand new video. Today we've got some pretty big things to go over. Some new potential Generation 10 leaks have dropped. We have some Nintendo Switch 2 updates to go over, multiple Pokemon events and announcements, and as well as that, a few other interesting things to go over from Gamefreak's recent announcement. A lot of things to break down today. So if you're excited for the video, drop a like down below, leave a comment, subscribe if you're brand new, and let's get into the video. So, starting things off, let's quickly go over a couple of Pokemon events and announcements. The first one is for Pokemon Go. We have HDvee here tweeting out saying, HDvee update, the poll is open for the Pokemon Go Community Day on the 30th of August. So, if you were unaware, they've done, I think for the first time ever, a poll of like 4 different Pokemon. They let the community decide what the Pokemon Go Community Day was going to be for the 30th of August. Can't remember what the options are off the top of my head, but the winner is Rookidee and will be the focus Pokemon during that day. So 30th of August Community Day is Rookidee, which has a very, very nice shiny as well, well, the whole evolution line does, but that's a pretty good Community Day in my opinion. And then as well as that, we have some updates to the Pokecology book that is coming out in Japan. Some more screenshots and images have dropped. We have CentroLeaks here tweeting out saying, here is a preview of some pages from the upcoming Pokecology, the official Pokemon Ecology Encyclopedia. So yeah, this is only in Japan when it comes out. We're hoping it gets released worldwide. It's very unlikely that is going to be the case, though. It's going to be translated and everything, obviously, just from like the community. But getting an actual English version of this book is, I think it's quite unlikely right now. But these are just some more images of it. You'll be able to buy it from Japan and get it shipped to you, but obviously it's just not going to be in English. But this first page is all about water types. We've got Kyogre, Dondozo, Primarina, Feraligatr, Veluza. This is about ground types and stuff. Well, I thought about ground types, but it's actually about like Kingler and stuff. I don't know, maybe Pokemon that have shells or something. I don't really know. Again, it's all in Japanese, so I've got no idea what it's saying. We have Torterra, Mantine. I think this is like Pokemon in different habitats. Like you got Metapod and Wormadam on Torterra. You have Remoraid and Mantike on Mantine, etc, etc. And then this image, we have like legendaries flying through the sky, and obviously pseudo-legendaries. You've got Pidgeots, you've got Golurks, everything like that. And then we have some other pages here. Again, the artwork just looks incredible. Like I'm a massive fan of this book. I'm definitely going to try my best to grab it because it just looks so good. Yeah, if you want to see more of the images, I think there's like pages online with all of the images that have kind of been revealed so far. We have like running animations and flying animations and rolling animations and stuff like that. Like, this is really just a massive encyclopedia for Pokemon. So if you're really into Pokemon and you want to see all this information, even though it's going to be in Japanese, if you want to see the cool pictures and stuff, yeah, this is obviously coming out, I think, relatively soon. But yeah, some more images for the Pokecology book that's coming out soon. Moving on, I wanted to take a look at the new game that Gamefreak just announced yesterday during the Xbox showcase. This has kind of caused a lot of, I don't know, a lot of reactions online because this Beast of Reincarnation game, which of course was trademarked a few days ago, we thought potentially it could have been a Pokemon game, but no, it is this Project Bloom that was announced in like 2023 or has been in development since 2023. This has now been announced as Beast of Reincarnation. Is coming to like multiple different Xbox kind of, I guess, consoles. In 2026, I've got Hidden Power Podcast here saying Gamefreak, the developers of Pokemon, have just announced their next game, Beast of Reincarnation, coming to 2026. So we have a little bit more information to go over about this before I kind of talk about it in regards to Pokemon. So we've got VGC here tweeting out saying Pokemon developer Gamefreak just revealed a new IP at the Xbox showcase. So again, this isn't really, well, obviously this isn't a Pokemon game. It's not Pokemon related, but the only reason that you can get like the comparison is because it's made by Gamefreak, who make Pokemon, and of course people are now, I guess, raising the question as to why Gamefreak can make games look like this with these incredible graphics, because this game does look very good. It's a Souls-like game, and people are saying, well, why can they make that but then they can't make good graphics in Pokemon? So that's what I kind of wanted to talk about in a second. But either way, Pokemon developer Gamefreak just revealed a new IP at the Xbox showcase. Watch the first trailer for Gamefreak's Beast of Reincarnation. So Beast of Reincarnation from Pokemon developer Gamefreak has been announced. So it says the game, which was showcased during the Xbox Game Showcase on Sunday, features a character battling large monsters. So Beast of Reincarnation, set in the near future of Japan and will release for Xbox, PlayStation, and PC in 2026, published by new company Fictions. The game is directed by Kota Furushima, a longtime battle designer on the Pokemon series. So people that have worked on Pokemon, of course, working on this game as well. The new trailer offers a breathtaking look at the game's atmospheric world, inviting players to journey through post-apocalyptic Japan. A synopsis reads, step into the role of Emma the Sealer, along with her canine companion Ku, as they confront the source of the world's corruption to save humanity from extinction. Founded in 1989, Japanese studio Gamefreak is best known as the creator of over 30 entries in the Pokemon franchise. A decade ago, Gamefreak set up an internal initiative called Gear Project, in which developers could pitch original game ideas during quieter periods when Pokemon development isn't as intense. Because obviously Pokemon haven't really made a game since Scarlet and Violet. Like, we've had a little bit of DLC, obviously we had nothing in 2024, and of course Pokemon Legends EA is coming out in 2025, but at the latter end of the year. So we haven't had anything really new Pokemon-wise since 2022. It says, although the studio is best known for Pokemon series released exclusively on Nintendo platforms, it has released a number of smaller unrelated games for multiple platforms in the past, such as Harmo Knight, Tembo the Badass Elephant, and Giga Wrecker. It is very important to Game Freak to keep taking on the challenge of creating original games. Masafumi Saito, the general manager of Game Freak's development department, told VGC in a recent interview. Yada yada yada. So basically, yeah, they're making this game, which has caused a bit of a stir online because of how good it looks, and people are like, well, why can't they make this kind of? Why can't they recreate this for Pokemon, basically? So I've got Soul Silver out here saying, first of all, if you expect Generation 10 to look anything like this, you will be disappointed. But I think we as Pokemon fans don't understand Game Freak, so Nintendo or the Pokemon Company, we need more information on this game before jumping to conclusions, though. So when did this game begin development? How much did Nintendo / the Pokemon Company influence Pokemon games? Did any other developers help them with the title? How does Game Freak see Pokemon as a series? Just for kids? Do they have passion for Pokemon anymore, or is it just money-making machine? But most importantly, who from Game Freak is working on it? It ain't Amori, I'll tell you that. There's clearly a different team from the two that develop Pokemon games. Lastly, Pokemon games never need to be this realistic, ever. We don't want that, but clean, good graphics done in an anime Pokemon art style would be wonderful. So, obviously, people have been talking, like, got Aero here saying Game Freak Generation 10 better be amazing on the Nintendo Switch 2 next year if you're all capable of making games look like this compared to Pokemon. So obviously, like I say, we have this here, which has just been announced, the Beast of Reincarnation, and then this was Generation 9 that came out in 2022. But obviously, this game has been in development, I think, since around, well, it was announced in 2023, but obviously it's been, not announced, but it kind of got slightly revealed. And then obviously around the same time the Scarlet and Violet came out. So you'd be like, well, they are capable of making this game like 3 years ago in regards to Pokemon, basically. So it's caused a massive stir because, like I say, the Game Freak Pokemon games, the graphics are not even that they're supposed to be this good, because I don't think anybody would really want a realistic Pokemon game like this. At the end of the day, it's a very cartoony game, and it is, I don't want to say it's kind of promoted for kids, but at the end of the day, it kind of is. Like, it's colorful, there's like monsters and stuff like that to try and attract the attention of kids. I think just for like long-term fans, like nostalgic fans like myself that have been playing literally since Pokemon came out, obviously we've had that, and now we kind of want like better looking games. For me, I think the perfect Pokemon game would literally just be new Pokemon Snap, but as a like generation game. I think that would be ridiculous. Like, we know they can do Pokemon Snap graphics because we've had the game. Like, new Pokemon Snap is an absolutely gorgeous game. The Pokemon look incredible, the graphics are fantastic. So I think I think that would be the best sort of scenario. We have that, but for Generation 10, which I don't think is too difficult to ask. I get it that obviously new Pokemon Snap would be nowhere near as big as a game as Generation 10, but now we have the Switch 2, we have 60 FPS, everything like that. I think it's generally more doable now than ever. But like I say, for people that are thinking, you know, Pokemon should look like this, again, that's never what Pokemon is set out to do. It's supposed to be a cartoony kind of kids game. You know, Beast of Reincarnation is a Souls game. It's in a post-apocalyptic war. Like, it's just a completely different style of game. But at the end of the day, I completely understand the fact that if they can make graphics like this, then why are like the textures and stuff so bad in Pokemon? Because they are, like in Generation 9, the textures aren't great. They haven't been great in a very long time for Pokemon games, and since it probably became 3D. So I completely understand that argument, but in regards to getting a Pokemon game looking exactly like this, I just don't generally think it'd be that good. Like, I think it'd look a bit weird with like really realistic Pokemon and stuff. Like, I don't know about you, but the Detective Pikachu movie, the Pokemon look a little bit weird because they look very realistic and stuff. So I don't know, that's just my 2 cents on the situation. I think that they can definitely do better with the graphics, obviously, 100%. But I don't know, I feel like this would be the wrong direction. I think the new Pokemon Snap direction would be the way that would look really good. But anyway, I just kind of wanted to talk about that because it's been raising a lot of questions and a lot of people have been talking about it, obviously, since it was announced yesterday. The game looks great, though. I'm looking forward to playing it 100%. But yeah, I don't think Pokemon's ever going to look like this because that's just not the kind of selling point of the game. But what are your thoughts on it? What are your thoughts on how the graphics may improve for Pokemon in the future? Let me know in the comment section down below. Moving on, though, we do have some, I guess, potential Generation 10 leaks to go over. They do come from Centro, who is a so-so source at the end of the day, but they have given a little bit of an insight to what the actual graphics are going to be for Pokemon Generation 10. So we've got Centro Leaks here tweeting out saying, with Pokemon Generation 10 being again open world and focused on ocean exploring, what do you want them to do differently this time? And then we had a lot of people kind of replying and stuff like that, but then before obviously we go over the leaks, this is just kind of what a couple of people want to see. So obviously, please relate to be a Greek region. It has been, well, it's not been confirmed to be a Greek region, but Ball Guy did say it was going to be based on like loads of different islands and stuff like that. And then obviously Centro kind of jumped on that and said the same. It's 30th anniversary, put all Pokemon into the game. That won't happen. So apparently it's not going to have every single Pokemon. Again, this is information coming from Centro Leaks, so take it with a massive grain of salt because they have been wrong multiple times in the past. And they were wrong very recently when they said that obviously the Mega for Alligator image was real when it wasn't. But, you know, just taking that into account when you take a look at this information. But yeah, they are basically saying that not all Pokemon are going to be in the game. I feel like if we were ever going to get all Pokemon in the game again, it would be in Generation 10 because it's a celebration of Pokemon. It's a 30th anniversary. I think it'd be great to have them all back, obviously. It's unlikely. I think for a game like Pokemon Champions, they all need to be in that game because that's literally a battle simulator. So you have to have every Pokemon in that, which we know is not going to have every single one, at least at the start. They're going to add more Pokemon in the future. So there's going to be like metas and stuff in Pokemon Champions until they add everything. But yeah, apparently Generation 10 not going to have every single Pokemon in it, which is a bit unfortunate. We kind of guessed that, but at the same time, if they were ever going to do it, it'd be now. It says dynamic battle camera, please. And then, yeah, Scarlet and Violet already has a dynamic camera, yada, yada, yada. And then this is a little bit more of a potential leak here from Centro. So again, take it with a grain of salt, but basically change graphics engine and stable 60 FPS. So we've got Centro here saying the graphics engine is the same as Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And they made a reply to that saying, wasn't that the case for for Pokemon Legends ZA and not Generation 10? Which is true. Pokemon Legends ZA is the same graphic style as Scarlet and Violet. We've seen it. We've seen it in trailers and stuff like that. That's obviously been confirmed. But what Centro is here is saying both games are using it. So they are saying that not only is Legends ZA going to look like Generation 9, Generation 10 is also going to have that same sort of graphic style as Generation 9, which is information that we didn't know about. And you would know this how, don't talk, nonsense or whatever. And then apparently they've seen screenshots of Generation 10. So I don't know what screenshots they've seen. The only one that has kind of like made slightly the rounds online is obviously the Lumineon image. But yeah, we've got Centro here saying that they have seen images of Generation 10, which I guess would be quite fresh images if, because the Lumineon we saw was very like pixely and stuff. But if they're here saying, it's the same engine as Scarlet and Violet, there's obviously images out there for Generation 10 that look very clear and look very obvious. So, yeah, I mean, look, they could be talking nonsense. They could be talking correct information. They could just be guessing. Who even knows at this point? They've been wrong multiple times in the past. But apparently, Generation 10 is going to look exactly like, well, not exactly like Generation 9, but it's going to have the same engine, just like Pokemon Legends ZA, which I'm not massively against because I think Pokemon Legends ZA looks very, very good. And I think if they take that into Generation 10, but obviously make it look even better, I don't think it's going to be the worst thing in the world. Like, I don't hate the style of Generation 9, especially when we get, like, full character customization and everything. The main issue for me for Generation 9 was that you were stuck in a school uniform and stuff. It was just a little bit meh. But all the Pokemon looked really good, especially, like, steel types and stuff. Like, the models were really, really good. Again, the textures and the terrain definitely needed a massive update. Hopefully we'll get that in Generation 10. But Legends ZA, all in all, looks very good. And I'm not saying anything bad about the graphics. Of course, when we play the game, it might not be as good, who knows? But as of right now, I don't think it's terrible that Generation 10 is going to have that same sort of graphic engine. But again, it might not. This is coming from Centro Leaks, who again has a very kind of all over the place track record. But let me know your thoughts on this. Would you like to see a similar graphic engine for Generation 10? Are you happy to hear this information or are you not? And also, what are your thoughts on not having every single Pokemon in Generation 10 as well, which again isn't going to be a massive surprise because we haven't had every single Pokemon in a game since Generation 7, but it's still like, it could have been something in Generation 10. But let me know your thoughts on the latest potential leaks for Generation 10. Finishing things off for today's video, we have a new Nintendo Switch 2 update to go over. It's quite a bad one as well, I guess, in the grand scheme of things. This was a post on Insider Gaming saying Nintendo is already offering free replacements for faulty Nintendo Switch 2 Joy-Con controllers. So, like the first Nintendo Switch, if you're a Switch owner unhappy with your Joy-Cons, you don't have to suffer in silence. If you're experiencing Joy-Con 2 stick drift, which if you're experiencing that after, it's been out for 4 days, you've been very unlucky, which seems to be happening, or other issues, Nintendo is replacing broken devices. Stick drift became one of the most notorious problems with the Nintendo Switch. Joy-Cons notoriously developed a common issue that meant they wouldn't move in the correct direction and game feedback would be useful. This, among other issues, appears to be the case for the Switch 2 already. So, as shown by Nintendo, you can get a free Joy-Con 2 replacement if you fill out a form. It promises a service request free of charge and the product being replaced. So obviously this can apply to any issues with the Joy-Con 2 controllers. However, there's a feeling stick drift could be a reason, as the sensors used in the controller are similar if not the same as the Switch 1. This means your Joy-Con 2 devices could develop stick drift at any given moment. It's a fascinating realization given that Nintendo faced a lot of backlash over this with the Nintendo Switch 1. Not only this, but various lawsuits were filed over stick drift issues. How are you finding the Joy-Con 2? Yada yada yada. So this is a thing, unfortunately, like we thought it was going to get kind of fixed, and that was the overall thought for a while. And then it was just before release we found out that wasn't going to be the case, and they were going to potentially get stick drift. And now people are already getting stick drift 4 days into the console being out, which is really unfortunate. That just means at any time, like you could be playing Mario Kart or whatever, and then boom, stick drift. And then that controller is then broke. And then you have to send it off, get it fixed. You'd have to send both of them off as well, get it fixed, then obviously get it back. And, you know, if you don't have a Pro controller or something that you can use whilst they're getting fixed, you just can't play your Switch 2. It's absolutely pathetic. It really is. Like, a company like Nintendo that, you know, this potentially is going to be the best-selling console of all time. You know, Nintendo Switch 1 was nearly there, and they're still having these issues, especially with all the backlash, the lawsuits, everything like that. You think they'd put a bit of money into fixing it, making it not a problem, but they didn't. So yeah, hopefully this doesn't happen to you, you know, knock on wood, but it is a possibility. I don't know what Nintendo are doing. They've absolutely dropped the ball on this. But anyway, that's going to be everything for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please do consider leaving a like down below. Let's try and hit 500 likes. It does really help out. Leave a comment on your thoughts on the whole stick drift situation. Like I say, hopefully it doesn't happen to you, but you can get it replaced for free, but like I say, it can take weeks and weeks and weeks for it to get back to you. It's just a shame that this is a thing. What are your thoughts on the Generation 10 leaks as well? Same graphics as Gen 9, and also not every single Pokemon being in the game. What are your thoughts on Beast of Reincarnation as well? All that stuff we spoke about, and then everything else that we kind of spoke about, Pokecology, stuff like that. But yeah, thank you for watching. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Subscribe if you're brand new. Ring the notification bell for daily Pokemon content. And until next time, peace.